This is Late Night Politics on StarFM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene.
It's a Monday and it's Late Night Politics. My name is George Musumba. Is a divided ZANU-PF a shoe-in to win the 2018 elections, defeating all other parties, including the MDC-T, led by Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai? Are the perceived wrangles in the ruling party enough to tilt the goals in favor of the opposition? To help us in our discussion, I have MDC-T National Spokesperson, Mr. Obert Gutu, and ZANU-PF activist and writer, Dr. Masimba Mavaza. Gentlemen, welcome to StarFM.
Thank you, George. Thank you, listeners. Good evening, Zimbabwe. Sisonge.
Thank you, George, and thank you, listeners.
The first question I can ask, looking at the current scenario, is it pointing to another ZANU-PF win? I'll start with you, Obert Gutu.
George, I don't know whether that question you've asked it as a joke in bad taste or what. There's no way that ZANU-PF can win a free and fair election in Zimbabwe. In fact, the last time ZANU-PF won an election in Zimbabwe, I think it was way back in 1990, if not 1985. Since then, from about 1995, the 2000 elections, 2002 presidential elections, 2008 presidential harmonized elections, and the latest 2013 harmonized elections, ZANU-PF has been rigging itself back into power. So the question of ZANU-PF winning an election in Zimbabwe is actually totally and absolutely unfounded. ZANU-PF, as it is, particularly factionalized as it is right now, it is not possible. It is completely impossible for ZANU-PF to win a free and fair election. Because as you see, the ZANU-PF that we have today actually are several ZANU-PFs within ZANU-PFs. There are so many factions. And the bad thing about these factions is they are so antagonistic. Not only antagonistic in an emotional sense, but also in a physical sense. Listeners would remember that about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there was violence in Bulawayo. They almost killed each other. They were using machetes, knives, axes. There was some young man, if I remember his name is Machingura or something like that. He almost lost his life. His whole head was literally cut into pieces by fellow ZANU-PF activists over factional differences. This is the ZANU-PF that we have. A ZANU-PF that is at each other's throats. A ZANU-PF that unfortunately may actually degenerate this country into a bloody civil war. We hear about the so-called G40 faction. We hear about the so-called Team Lacoste. These people, they hate each other. They don't like each other. They don't even want to talk to each other. In fact, some of these ZANU-PF politicians whose names I can't disclose for obvious reasons actually phone me. They send me messages on WhatsApp. Politburo members, they feel better talking to Obert Gutu than talking to fellow ZANU-PF politicians. This is the ZANU-PF you have, completely divided, completely visionless, completely without any value that they can add to Zimbabwe. I mean, ZANU-PF, like I've always said, is yesterday's party.
Okay, we will come back to that. We will talk about the rigging claims. We will talk about the crowds that still gather at ZANU-PF.
They are commandeered, George. They don't gather voluntarily, like what they did in Maronde on Friday.
We will dissect the issue of crowds, the huge crowds.
They commandeer, they force people.
Which are still coming.
Schools are closed.
Dr. Mavaza, come in.
Thank you.
Is the current scenario pointing to another ZANU-PF win?
Yes. There are two things here I need to explain. Firstly, Dr. Gutu is seriously...
You can call me doctor.
Mr. Gutu is seriously mistaken. But I don't understand why he swims in his mistaken belief. ZANU-PF is not divided.
Oh, my God.
It looks divided. You know, the reason why ZANU-PF looks divided, it is because we don't have a strong opposition. Now, this is the position. ZANU-PF looks factious to those looking from outside. But when it comes to elections, ZANU-PF comes together again. Now, one thing which Mr. Gutu had pointed out, and I'm quite indebted to him, is the fact that ZANU-PF have got so many ZANU-PFs within ZANU-PF. It means the power still holds. It's holding them together. MDC failed. They fought one day, and the fight we are talking about in Bulawayo, it's called sibling banter. There was a terrible fight.
There
was terrible fight at Harvest House where BT dived into Tsvangirai's car with youth baying for his life, Mangoma losing teeth and having every himself beaten up. So the fights are happening in every party. So it's not ZANU-PF only. Now, second thing is, in ZANU-PF they fight, they still stick together. In MDC-T, MDC-M, MDC-Q, RZ, they fight and they split. And when they split, they come back together in a grand coalition of the splitting party. So we are looking at a party which is divided, depleted, and degenerated into a grandstanding and a sin-acting party of MDC, which says we are now big, and they talk big. The reason why MDC thinks they'll win, or they are trying to sell to the people a winning ticket, which they don't have, is to see when they lose, they'll come back and say, we're supposed to win, we're rigged. Because their policy, their aims, whatever they have got for the Zimbabweans are two things. We're going to be rigged, Mugabe is bad. Nothing to offer. What they are offering, a rigging fear and Mugabe bad fear. Nothing else. So that, seriously, ZANU-PF is not fighting anybody. ZANU-PF will not have a problem winning 2018 elections.
Far from it.
Let's come back to the issue of the crowds and even the by-elections where ZANU-PF is posting these huge numbers. And just on Friday, there was a huge turnout in Marondera. And I sense that within the opposition ranks, there's a mystery. They are mystified as to why are still people turning up for ZANU-PF despite all that you say.
Let me start with the issue of these perceived crowds. This is typical of all totalitarian fascist regimes. And the ZANU-PF is a shoe-in when you talk about totalitarianism, when you talk about fascism.
That's a big word.
When you talk about Stalinism. I'll tell you why. That crowd that you saw at Rudaka Stadium was a commandeered crowd. I can tell you that no less than 200 buses were actually commandeered from all the schools in the Mashonaland East Province, from Murewa up to Nyamapanda, to Mudzi, to Kotwa. Each and every school with a bus was forced to provide the bus and their pupils, their students, to ferry them to Rudaka Stadium in Marondera. This is what happened. All the vendors in and around the town of Marondera, they actually were forced to close their marketing stalls. Force-smashed, literally.
Is that when...
No, I still have the floor, George.
I want you to also add this.
Go to Rudaka. I still have the floor, George.
Yes, I want to put a caveat to it. Is this where the opposition fails it?
Where ZANU-PF, I will deal with you. You're supposed to be...
No, I want you also to answer this as we go on.
If you want to wear ZANU-PF, you are gay.
No.
Yes.
Is this not where the opposition fails to read the situation?
No. This is why
all of these people commandeered.
Unfortunately, like I'm saying, this is the hallmark of a totalitarian political party. In fact, ZANU-PF ceased to be a political party, I think, way back during the Liberation War. For the past 30 or to 37 years, ZANU-PF has been a mafia organization. It's an organization of thieves, crooks, and political thugs. In fact, Mr. Mugabe himself has been on record to say that he has got degrees in violence. And when he says that, he means it. Right. It's a part of violence. No, I still have the floor. All I'm saying is this. ZANU-PF is incapable of having a voluntary crowd. If the people in Marondera had been voluntarily asked to come to Rudaka, ZANU-PF was likely to go and have 150 people in that stadium. So this is not the Zimbabwe we want. As the MDC, we are a social democratic political party. We can hold a political rally in just a few meters from here. In Rufaro Stadium. We can fill Rufaro Stadium to the rafters without closing Mbaremsika forcibly, without forcing anyone to come to our rallies. This is the party of today. This is the party of yesterday. This is the party of the future. That's the MDC we are talking about. We are the only game.
Dr. Mavaza, come in and respond to the issue that is raising that all the ZANU-PF crowds, they are not genuine, they are burst, they are forced.
Right. This is we are dealing here with a party, MDC-T, which is full of fear and living in their own fear. The first thing he told us that ZANU-PF last won elections in 1995. Now he says it last became a party during the Liberation War. So you see the confusion. So this fear is still with them. Now looking at that, there is no burst crowd. but there's a crowd which was provided with buses. You know, providing a bus and busing is two different things. Number one. Number two, if you think every rally we have is a commandeered crowd, where do votes come from? We have won our votes without a problem. The second thing, I need you to understand one point.
To come to your parties.
We were having a provincial...
You forced villagers to vote for you.
We're having a provincial meeting in Marondera. That's Mashonaland East. That means we had to help our members from the province to come.
And court.
No,
help.
You are putting the court. But look at it. We are helping our members who cannot provide themselves with transport to come. ZANU-PF have got friends. Some people will say, we offer a lorry, we offer a bus, we accept, and nobody has been forced. And on that basis, unless you've got evidence of anybody was forced.
I have evidence. I can phone people here. I live in Marondera who can testify what was happening.
We've been having is that MDC has always been concentrating on the fear of ZANU-PF and the fear of torture and the fear of everything. Before you come in, let me finish.
Dr. Mavaza, maybe he stayed for too long in England.
Let me finish.
2002. He doesn't know what is happening on the ground here.
Let me finish because I'm on the ground now.
Let him finish, then you will come in.
Let's talk about London or Derby. I think he's more familiar with those places than what's happening in Zimbabwe.
Let Dr. Mavaza finish, because I think this is an important point which he needs to clarify, because you have raised very serious allegations that the party buses people.
ZANU-PF has been winning elections, by-elections. We've been winning so much that winning becomes us. And as a result of this winning, the MDC, instead of going to the people and talk to them, they are just saying you are being intimidated. They have not. You have no program of reaching the people.
Right now we are in every.
While MDC is everywhere, they have not been able to come to.
Yes, you are now going
Dr.
to have.
Mavaza said it's time for now.
No, I haven't finished this point.
I want to put a caveat there. I want to add on, Dr. Mavaza, you'll come back, because we need also to just clear this issue of crowds.
Yes.
The opposition, you are complaining that ZANU-PF has been, you have been in existence for close to 20 years, and yet you still cannot unlock that logjam. SADA came in and they said the elections were free and fair.
ZANU-PF is a dictatorship. In fact, ZANU-PF, the political party, and the state, there is conflation of what I call conflation of the state and the party. When you see the state, you see ZANU. When you see ZANU, you see the state. I still have the floor.
I'll tell you what. In 2008, you nearly defeated them.
ZANU-PF has got no structures. When they are campaigning, they actually resort to the state apparatus. That's why in the bloody and the violent so-called presidential runoff of June 2008, army officers in full military regalia, in full military fatigues, they were unleashed throughout the 55 districts. I still have the floor. They were unleashed to all the 55 districts of Zimbabwe to go and intimidate the people, to go and kill people. And indeed, people were killed. We have Tondera Indira, who was killed in cold blood. We have Shepard Jani, killed in cold blood. We have Betacho Kururama, killed in cold blood. We have Abigail Chiroto, killed in cold blood. I can go on and on and on. They killed no less than 500 people in less than 1 month. And they called that a runoff.
Let me come in on one
that
point.
is ZANU-PF for you, George.
Okay, let's look at the first round, Dr. Gutu. I know you
give me 1 point, just 1 point. Mr. Gutu knows very well that Tondera Indira was a field marshal, was a violent fighting person. And Tondera Indira was not killed by ZANU-PF. It was a fight between them. He's the one who beat up Sekayo Holland in your area. You know that? And he was arrested for it. He was arrested for it.
The police and give evidence.
And then, so Mr. Gutu, it was Tondera Indira and most of their people, they were killed because of the MDC factions. They were fighting amongst themselves.
He's responding.
And you are aware, as I do, that Tondera Indira and his gang were arrested for the beating up of your own member again in Mavuku there. And after that, who knows what happens? Probably a hit squad was sent by you, because we all know MDC is more violent. Now, one last point. You had said that the president said ZANU-PF have got degrees in violence. Yes, he was responding to say, if you MDC start beating our people as you were doing that time, we can retaliate because we have got... That time when the president said that, I remember very well.
All right. This is too generalized.
It was a response to the violence which has been unleashed by the MDC on
George,
people.
Could I chip in there?
Yeah, no, let's move on the program on. We have discussed the issue of crowds. We have discussed the issue of violence, and there's no consensus here. You say that they do this, and those ones, they say that they do that. But let's move on to another one. Is it true that perceptions of party disunity play a role in how voters assess the competence of parties? Would you say that the issues that are coming out of ZANU-PF will sway the voters to say that ZANU-PF is disorganized and will ditch it?
Right. There are two answers to it, which will come to one. Yes, it is true that if the party shows the signs of disunity, the voters are confused. But the thing is now, there is supposed to be a party with an art to sway the mind of the voters. ZANU-PF has mastered that art. Since 1980, we've been winning up to now. So what we do is, even if we look disunited, we are not in any way disunited. Factions are healthy for the party. They are very, very healthy. And therefore, even though ZANU-PF have got values which people vote for, they don't vote for individuals. They vote for the values within the party. Those values we have are the values we don't have in MDC-T.
Of corruption.
That's why people don't vote for MDC-T. MDC-T is only a town party. What they do is, when they're having their rallies here in Harare, they just gather everybody, the whole country, and they have 400 people there and say they've got majority. When it comes to elections, it shows that no, there's nobody. And MDC, it's known, and he knows that. BT was paying $10 each to his members who came to whatever fuss of a congress he had 2 years back, and they came up on press and said he paid us £10. He promised to give us another 10, and he didn't. And it was all over. I can give you the article, and we all aware that MDC youth would be drunk because they have given somebody and some beer.
Let's come to
become violent.
Let's come to Mr. Gutu. Mr. Gutu.
Yes, Judge.
Within your party, is there unity? Because I understand also even the issue of the vice presidents also caused some ruckus.
I'll tell you what, George, and I'm happy that listeners are listening. We are the most united political party in Zimbabwe. Not only are we the largest and biggest political party in terms of our sheer mammoth support base, but in terms of party unity, we are very united. As I'm talking to you now, George, I'm in this studio today, but just a few kilometers from here, we actually have the whole of the top leadership of the MDC, our shadow cabinet, and other top leaders. They are meeting somewhere where we are crafting party policies as the government in waiting. We are coming up with one of the most beautiful election manifestos Zimbabwe, or if not Africa, has ever heard or seen. So all we are saying is, as a party, we are very divided. I mean, I'm sorry to say, we are very united. We are solidly behind Morgan Richard Tsvangirai, Save. And we are saying that in the same way that Morgan Tsvangirai walloped Robert Mugabe in March 2008, next year, he's going to give Robert Mugabe a thorough and a humiliating electoral defeat. The only thing that we are not happy and comfortable with, I want listeners to get me right here, is the uneven political playing field. Because as you know, George, as the MDC, we are denied access to what is supposed to be the state-controlled media, what is effectively ZANU-PF-controlled media. We have no access to Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation's 4 radio stations. We have absolutely no access to Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation television station. These are state-funded corporations. Only yesterday, Mugabe and his wife et al., they were having a rally broadcast live from Marondera, broadcast to the nation, using state funds. We are having a rally. We have rallies every time. We actually have the mother of all rallies in Mkoba Stadium on the 10th of June, which is going to be addressed by the incoming president of Zimbabwe, Morgan Tsvangirai. But I can assure you, if I approach the ZBC to come and cover that rally live, they will not agree. They will not even accept. They will say, it's not Zimbabwe. So all we are saying is the MDC, let me reiterate, we are not only strong, we are not only popular, we are also very united.
But let me come in there before I forget it.
Okay, come in, but briefly, so that I also introduce the next point I want Mr. Gutu to respond to.
Mr. Gutu has really been massaging a lie and making it look like the truth. It is very common and it's known that MDC is seriously divided, especially on tribal grounds. The appointment of the other 2 vice presidents, unconstitutionally, they could not even follow their own constitution. They appointed 2 vice presidents. It was a way to sidestep the Coupe. And Coupe is well known as making a declaration that she is, or MDC people, that's what she said, they are in politics for money. So these are money mongers, they've got no country at heart. And therefore, to stand up, to sit here and say, no, they are the only biggest, largest party. Yes, they are the largest opposition party. They will remain opposition. They've been opposition. They've got no ambitions. Their ambition is to remain opposition. Yes, become opposition. We love opposition. They make us work. They make us work hard as ZANU-PF. And what I can assure you, in 2018, MDC will emerge as the largest, strongest opposition, while ZANU-PF emerges as the winner. So we're not worried about them remaining the opposition.
Okay. Mr. Gutu, you talked about the incoming president as Mr. Tsvangirai. Have you reached an agreement? Because now you are confusing the voters. One moment you are talking of a coalition, the next you are saying you are going it alone. Which is which now? Is it a coalition, or are there power struggles to see who will lead the coalition? What is going on?
George, thank you for asking me that question. I'm here as the national spokesperson of the MDC led by Morgan Tsvangirai. So when I talk here, I'm wearing my party political hat. I am not talking here on behalf of a coalition. But let me also quickly advise the listeners, who I'm sure are listening right now, that the coalition is coming. Issues to do with the nitty-gritties of the coalition discussions, like I've been on record so many times, are issues that are not discussed in public. We don't negotiate in the media. We don't negotiate at political rallies. The grand coalition is coming, and we know ZANU-PF is quacking in their boots because they fear the opposition. All I'm saying here is, on behalf of my party, the man who is our leader is Morgan Tsvangirai. And on behalf of our party, before the coalition presidential candidate is announced, the man we have as a presidential candidate is Morgan Tsvangirai. That doesn't, by any stretch of the imagination, say that there are any problems with the proposed coalition talks. Because I'm wearing my political party.
Is there consensus within the MDC-T that you must have a coalition? Because some of the leadership within the MDC-T are very much against a coalition because it might elevate Tendai Biti to be above some of those who remained with Morgan Tsvangirai.
George, I don't know where you are getting this from. All I'm saying is the mood for a coalition is actually getting stronger and stronger. I'm sure you have seen even the joint public rallies, if I may call them rallies, that we have attended as the leaders. There was the NERA event that happened recently in Zengeza 4, that open ground in Chitungwiza, less than a month ago. All the political leaders of the major political parties were there. There was so much happiness, so much joy. And I don't know where you are getting this notion that there is disharmony, that some people within the MDC upper echelons are not happy with the idea of a coalition. This is a ZANU-PF propaganda too that unfortunately has hopelessly failed to find traction with the masses. Because people see Morgan Tsvangirai, Joyce Mjuru, Tendai Biti, Jacob Ngari Vume, Siba Makoni on the same platform talking about electoral reforms under ZINERA, what is now called ZINERA, the Zimbabwe National Election Reform Agenda. We are one, we are strong, and we are going to beat ZANU-PF once and for all. In fact, ZANU-PF after next year will be they'll be fighting among themselves. The G40s, Jonathan Moyo, they'll be fighting.
So you'll be happy.
Don't give a damn.
So you'll be happy with
Tendai Biti.
You'll be happy with Tendai Biti coming and taking a more senior role.
Look, like I'm saying, coalition discussions, George, I did discuss in public. Just wait. I still have the floor. When the nitty-gritties, when the nuts and bolts...
You are too much on the floor.
When the nuts and bolts of the coalition package is unleashed, then people know who is who. For now, Gutu has no mandate to tell you that.
My point here is, seriously, this is the position. 2 weeks ago, last week, your partner in this coalition, Maim Juru, declared clearly that she was almost about to succeed the president, Robert Mugabe, but it was because of men that she didn't do it. And she said now she's wiser and there will be no men who can take the position from her. So that is, she's eyeing for that position. Now we've got a coalition of power-hungry leaders who agree and smile on the platform, and when they are somewhere else, they say a different story. Your coalition is cracking before it's even started. Again, I want you to look at this point. The coalition people, most of them, put Maim Juru aside. The other people have been MDC before. They cracked from MDC. They are coming back again to join you. You have been failing with them. You will fail again with them. Now Maim Juru is coming again. Ma'am
Tell
Julie
me how
is
far
coming
you've gone
in
with
again,
drinking.
and she says she's fighting. She's already angry with men in her party and in another party.
No,
now,
George,
how
I
are
don't
you?
speak on behalf of Ma'am Julie, so I
how
can't
are
even
you
comment on
expecting-
that.
How are you expecting to have a coalition which will stand when your coalition leaders are fighting amongst themselves? Are you not lying to the public
George,
by saying
Okay,
you are
let's
elected?
move the conversation on. You will respond whilst we move on to this other point. Now, within ZANU-PF, a day before the youth rally in Marondera on Thursday, Professor Jonathan Moyo came out and he talked of seniority within ZANU-PF, and it seems that ZANU-PF now allows individuals to deviate or to make statements, and sometimes these statements can cause harm, public disagreements, and there's already debate now because he touted one of the leaders as being more senior than the current vice president. Yes.
Right. That's a very good point. The president yesterday clearly stated that he actually lambasted the leaders who go out and say things which are still within the pot, like what he was talking about the pot. Yes, Professor Jonathan Moyo went out and said what he said. He was not saying it on behalf of ZANU-PF. He was saying it for himself.
Yeah, he said
he
he's
was
speaking as an individual.
As an individual. He was not speaking for the party. And therefore, whatever he said as an individual, is best to answer that.
But for God's sake, he's a political member.
Coming to that,
ZANU.
the problem, yes, there is a problem within ZANU-PF. But that problem, we are putting it together.
Thank you for
and we are
accepting.
sitting. We have always been accepting. We know that there is a problem. But if that problem is not ripping the party apart, it's simply uniting us. We are getting stronger. We are now knowing each other. We know who is who in this party. The problem, I want you to point out from what Mr. Gutu had said, is the point that the problem with the opposition, MDC-T in particular, they have worshipped Changirai to an extent of believing that without him nothing happens. And therefore, they cannot come back and say ZANU-PF is wrong in saying Mugabe is
I
like
think
an
you wanted
angel.
to say Robert Mugabe. We had Chipanga saying yesterday Mugabe is an angel. That blasphemous statement. In MDC, we are not preoccupied with personalities. We are preoccupied with policies. When you say Sabe Chete Chete, no, we are saying the man is a brand. When you say Sabe Chete Chete, it simply means
That's
for
what we are
now
saying.
he's
We are
our
saying
leader.
Mugabe
Does
is
it
a
not
brand.
shut out other potential leaders to take over?
No, this is just a slogan. Sabe Chete Chete is a slogan, and it's so popular with the people. So, unlike in ZANU, where somebody, whether they are high on Sombodia or on Mzepete, they go on a public platform and they say Mugabe is an angel, and that when we die, he's going to be on God's right hand, and they will be deciding. I mean, that's pathetic. It's blasphemous. If that boy was my son, I will disown him.
Okay, Dr. Mavaza, finish your point.
Yes. Here's the point here. If you remember, yesterday, the president stood up and said there will be a Congress. A leader will be elected at Congress. ZANU-PF have got a constitution. We are the best people with the best constitution ever in this country. And if you look at our constitution, we follow it. We're going to have the president, our candidate being elected at Congress. So therefore,
also, we're going to have another Congress.
We are going to have a Congress. We have never had a Congress. Last year it was called a conference. There's a difference between a conference and a Congress. It will come. So when we have
2019, I suppose, because the last
one. But we're talking of 2018 elections, George.
No,
yes,
the problem is when we have a Congress
runs
every 5 years. So we are going to have a Congress. So
who is
our leaders are going to be elected at Congress. We will see the difference here. Our constitution.
That's an interesting.
Listen. Our constitution is very clear. The president appoints vice presidents. Your constitution says your vice presidents are not appointed by one person, which your president did. So if you can break your own constitution, how do we trust you with the constitution of our country, which we have been adhering to faithfully up to now? How
you
do
want
we trust
to
you with
respond
it?
to that?
No, I can't even respond to that because he doesn't even know our constitution. I don't know whether they've seen the MDC
So it was constitutional.
Whatever was done was perfectly in terms of the constitution. So I do not want to dignify, puerile propaganda. With due respect to Dr. Mavaza, he's a lawyer like me, so I'm not insulting him as a learned friend and brother.
So it was above board.
All I'm saying is I do not even want to dignify lies. And so
it was above board. The two other vice presidents' appointments was
George,
above
I've
board.
been on record to say that is water under the bridge. It was done in terms of the constitution. We are here now. We have our 3 vice presidents, and life is going on perfectly well. We are happy. Everyone is
Constitution
happy.
Does not allow for 3 vice presidents.
Eh?
It's a problem that if you
why is he trying to cry on behalf of people?
No, but Mr. Gutu, you are also seeing the ZANU-PF problems, and he's also seeing your problems. Okay, let's move on. Mr. Gutu, coming to you. Why is the opposition failing to take advantage of the current public spats happening in ZANU-PF? Why is ZANU-PF having the luxury of fighting amongst themselves, and yet the opposition doesn't even take advantage? I've not seen droves of people coming to the MDC-T to say we are disgruntled ZANU-PF members because they're always fighting.
I'll tell you what, George. Each and every day, as I'm speaking now, we have ZANU-PF people who are coming. We are doing a massive door-to-door campaign. As we are talking now, the MDC yatekeshera, MDC kwese.
You said that's one the slogan.
We are represented in 1,958 wards of Zimbabwe. In other words, in each and every ward in Zimbabwe, we are there. ZANU-PF people are coming to us. Obviously, you don't expect them to come out publicly, because they know ZANU-PF party, like they say, and ZANU Europa unofa.
So that they are in your books now.
I cannot publicly say ndaba wenyu nokuti ndinourawa ZANU-PF Europa.
And they cannot say publicly to vote.
That's why we are saying if there's going to be a free and fair election today, even that's why you notice that even in Mugabe's own home village in Zimba, the MDC has a councillor there.
The Afrobarometer survey, which was done, has said that most people trust in President Robert Mugabe more than they trust.
That's not what it said. I was there when it was officially,
what does it say?
What it simply means is they are saying in terms of. It's actually sometimes
not what it means. What does it say?
There is an issue of trust, and also they say there's also an issue of fear. To say
no, there's
about 57% say okay, we'll vote for Mugabe, but at the same time about 39 or 40% say we don't trust Mugabe. And when you look at that survey, the way it was done, I'm not trying to trash it, but if you look at the last question on that survey, I still remember it's question number 100. When the people were asked as the last question, the parting shot, you know what they were saying? They said Matungani government. That alone
in 2013 they did another survey.
I still have the floor, Judge.
Yes,
I still have the floor. So what it simply means
2013 they did another one, and it also pointed to a ZANU-PF victory.
Are you
disputing these surveys?
What we call their fear. ZANU-PF harvests from fear. Even if I'm going to say Munomarare, not even Reserve, Mamisha, here in town, if I go Bambare Musikaba, Ndikavunza, Manasandizie, Kuchamari, party owners about a day. Antangonteresa face. Otofunga ndrimsiyayo. Ofunga kuti okay, kuti pana pandipone. Ndongoti ndosapota ZANU. Not because I support ZANU, but because of fear. This is what is happening with some of these surveys. You'll be surprised. Let me even talk to the surveys like I get to the United States. When all the surveys were pointing to Hillary Clinton, victory. We know what happened. We know what happened.
That is misreading.
Yeah. So all we are saying is the Zimbabwean political situation is very complicated. Out there, ZANU-PF has unleashed the fear.
Let me explain this clearly. You see, the problem with MDC is they spread fear amongst people. They always say ZANU-PF is going to kill you. ZANU-PF is so.
No, we don't say it's invincible, George.
Listen, let me finish. I'm on the floor now.
So I can tackle you.
I'm on the floor now.
ZANU-PF is not invincible.
If I was your supporter and you continuously say
George,
that
give me 2 minutes.
We are not going fear, why are you not spreading a message of strength?
This is my point exactly.
This is exactly what you are saying.
MDC is making a problem.
Push up for my electoral reforms.
Mr. Gutu,
vote freely.
Mr. Gutu,
at the same time, you are creating a monster to say.
We will never say we are going to be violent.
Mr. Gutu,
Dr. Mavaza, finish. Yes, coming.
The position is the problem why you guys always lose is because you are afraid of your own shadows. You think the violence in you is the violence in ZANU-PF. We are not a violent party. Number one. Number two, the problem you have as well is that you don't want to believe what is on the ground. You have seen multitudes of people attending our rally yesterday, and you still say there was no multitude. So that is the reason which you will fail, because you will still say you have not lost, even if you have lost. Imagine if you cannot say those are not people there, and how would you say those are votes? You are born to say no. You are so negative, and therefore you always lose.
In uniform.
It was youth program.
ZANU-PF supporters.
It was youth program. That's our youth. We catch them young. We catch them young. And you don't do that.
Smoking, my brother?
No. Come to the point.
No.
We catch them young, and they grow up ZANU-PF. And now, in your problem, you don't have a program for the youth. You don't have a program for them.
We actually have the strongest youth assembly in Zimbabwe.
No.
Problem, Mavaza.
You saw our assembly yesterday.
You've been staying outside Zimbabwe for too long.
Forget about outside. I'm here almost.
And I'm actually surprised that the man who is a diplomat, he's supposed to be at the embassy, the Zimbabwean embassy in Zimbabwe.
You're not
but he's now talking on behalf of ZANU. It just shows the conflation of the state and the party. How can a diplomat, a so-called diplomat, be talking on behalf of ZANU-PF?
You're not listening. It depends what you call a diplomat.
Perfect example of party-state conflation.
No. Will that stop you from winning?
All I'm saying is,
are you not looking at the wrong areas for you? The power in politics is with the people.
This is
because
why, George,
I think some of the areas is opposition. Yes.
George, allow me to finish. What I'm saying, Gutu, is that the problem you are having is implanting fear in your own people. ZANU-PF is not afraid of itself. So we are not afraid of it.
Implanting fear?
You are telling them that ZANU-PF will beat you up, ZANU-PF will rig. No. You are afraid of rigging. We haven't started rigging. Nobody has rigged. We never rigged.
So your voters, when your voters hear that message, why? That is why there's apathy. They will not go and vote because
George,
you have given them no hope.
No.
You have given them no hope.
The MDC sells the message of hope. It sells the message of transformation. When you look at our policies, my policies, Edu, like I told you right now as I'm talking to you now, our top leadership and our shadow cabinet is sitting, crafting the policies because this government is actually in waiting. All we are saying,
how long have you been waiting? And how long will you be waiting? I'm saying, don't confuse people out there.
That's why you notice right now between 2013 and 2018, Patangobudam government is also from unit government.
Because you cost it. In your dreams, Mr.
No, I can show you the messages. Let
the conversation move on. Now, the current spats in ZANU-PF. Are we going to see another Bora Msango, Dr. Mavaza?
Definitely.
No. I'll tell you straight. The president had called for unity within the party. And that is going to happen. Yes, every person they fight. People in a family, they fight. But they come together. ZANU-PF is so mature that when they fight, they come together. Only that moment.
You do that in your family?
But how many knives have been used in MDC? We don't copy MDC.
I think all parties are guilty.
No.
All parties are guilty of violence.
Answering your question, we are going to see a great united party. And the second thing I have to say is the grand coalition, which has been really widely spoken about, it's a non-starter. It's actually falling off before it started. Everybody is coming there trying to be a leader.
I'm missing his point.
Let him finish.
What are you saying?
The recruit is ZANU-PF is stronger than your coalition and any individual party in that coalition.
George, can I come in here? ZANU-PF and the state, there is now a conflation of the party and the state.
No, that's a statement of imagination which is wrong.
I have to repeat this so many times. We are discussing
Bora Msango. In 2008, MP akati one day because ZANU yanga divided amongst themselves.
In fact, George, let me answer that question.
Let's address Bora Msango.
ZANU-PF was divided. In 2017, ZANU-PF is maybe divided 100 times more than what it was in 2008. I'll tell you what, in 2008, we didn't hear about all these factions. I'm not doing faction if you...
I'm not in a faction.
Yeah. Anyway, all I'm saying is ZANU-PF did not have this kind of public exposition of division. It's unprecedented. When you find Jonathan Moyo was all out to show good.
No.
He does not want Mnangagwa at all.
Listen.
With passion. Then that ZANU-PF thing has never happened before. This is I would say, is now the new the new normal in
But
ZANU-PF.
it doesn't benefit
the new
the
normal in
opposition.
ZANU-PF.
Does it benefit
No.
you?
I still have the floor, George.
No,
Yes,
no,
the
it
new,
was my
the
floor.
new
You
normal,
stole my floor.
the new normal in ZANU-PF. It's a ZANU-PF that is divided.
No.
A ZANU-PF that is at war with itself. A ZANU-PF that will never ever be able to unite. A ZANU-PF that is heading towards a crashing defeat in 2018.
No.
A ZANU-PF that is dying.
Give me 2 minutes. You see, I'm shocked at the lack of reasoning or the reasoning of my brother here. ZANU-PF has become so democratic and very transparent. If there is a problem, they make you know about it. We are being transparent in our fights and we are sorting it out. And then
I enjoy that.
After fighting, we come back together as a family and we work as a party. Now, MDC now says, why are you being democratic? Why are you talking about these things freely? Don't talk about them, otherwise you are splitting. No, we are not splitting. Secondly, don't forget that Professor Jonathan Moyo had said he was saying it to himself as an individual, not on behalf of the party. So we cannot deliberate or dwell on what he said himself.
But look, this is a man who sits in the ZANU-PF Politburo. Not only that,
he was not
he is a cabinet minister.
At that moment, he wasn't
and
sitting
is on
there.
record. All we are saying is, as the MDC,
But
as the government, the problem here, economy. This is why the economy now is in the intensive care unit, because they are spending more time fighting among themselves than running the country. They are spending more time and more energy on factional fights instead of making sure that the economy is brought back to life. All the energy that they have,
the mystery, Mr. Gutu, is that ZANU-PF still has support.
The
people who vote in the by-elections, isn't that worrying for you?
Those people are not, like I told you, George. And
are you not worried? By-elections, but no voters.
People are intimidated. If you are a villager like me, who comes from Shavan in Gutu Central constituency, Ward 35, if I go there to my home area, they'll tell us, in your area, they couldn't even vote for you. No.
Actually,
why? Because I don't think you can vote MDC.
My learned friend Diego is really swimming in a wrong pool. Your vote is your secret. When you are voting, there's nobody standing behind you telling you what to vote. What you are saying, no, you are not listening. When you go into that box there, when you put your X, nobody is there for you, and nobody looks at your paper. Nobody. People are wiser. No.
Voter education.
We do that, but what I'm saying is, ZANU-PF drought prone. Fortunately, munhu anenge achida drought relief kana food relief unozwa kuti kana usina kuya musangano wezanu kana candidate yezanu ikaruza muno muward or at this particular polling station at Mushayavanu primary school or Mushayavanu high school or Mabugu primary school, I'm talking of my own home area and Gutu central constituency, candidate yezanu ikangoruza muchazvivona.
That
people are intimidated.
No, that's the fear you always put into your people. That's why you always lose, because they are afraid of what you tell them. ZANU-PF never said that. We only hear that from you.
Dr. Mavaza is saying perhaps you need to now change the narrative to say, look, if you are also going to perpetuate the myth that ZANU-PF is not going to be defeated, your voters will probably...
No, ZANU-PF, I've been actually...
You have painted a picture of a ZANU-PF which cannot be defeated.
The problem is you have taken sides in this debate.
No.
You have taken sides. In fact, it's Gutu versus 2 ZANU-PF.
No, you are not answering the point.
George, I'm answering the
point.
George, I've been on record to say in a free and fair election, MDC will romp to victory. We have beaten ZANU-PF before. Morgan Tsvangirai is the first opposition political leader in the history of Zimbabwe to wallop Robert Mugabe in an election. He will wallop him again.
What happened in 2013?
2013 was the mother of all rigging. We all know of Nikuv.
But
even
did you prove it?
George, the problem now, my brother, you are supposed to be a court of law.
You cannot go on national A. You cannot go on national A and say
so I'm coming for you.
Do you have
taken sides?
Do you have
clearly sounding and
do you have the evidence? Do you have the evidence of Nikuv?
Yes, what I'm saying, George, I'm shocked. You are supposed to be an umpire seated there.
Wait.
Now it's Gutu versus George Musumba.
When the AU and SADC endorsed the elections and said the result is a true reflection of the will of the people.
Was rigged. Nikuv. We know what happened.
Our court system
they paid about $14 million to Nikuv to manipulate.
Let me say this to our listeners out there.
That's why there was not even a voters roll in 2013.
Everyone through you, George, and our listeners out there. The problem, our listeners, you can hear from here, is that MDC is afraid to lose. And because they're afraid to lose, they are telling you if we lose, we have been rigged. And they're telling you if you vote ZANU-PF, you have been intimidated. They are not telling you why they want you to vote them. So this is their problem from beginning. They can never win because they have nothing to offer you except saying if you vote ZANU-PF, you're intimidated. If you lose,
to offer Kutambura.
Don't worry about that. We will come to that later.
Let Dr. Mavaza finish before you come.
What I'm saying here is, so far, and in all the discussions we've had MDC talking, there is no agenda, there is no program you're offering people except saying visa. But what are you offering Visa?
This is exactly what I've been saying.
Nothing.
We are coming up.
We are offering.
We have policies.
Let me tell you our policies.
Of transformation.
Let me tell you what we came with. Let me tell you what came with.
Was Mavaza listening?
I was listening, and I was seeing how far away from the target you were. This year, you confirmed.
You gave him some body.
No. You confirmed, and I'm so grateful that the rains came. People are not starving in your area. And are you aware? Most of it is because of ZANU-PF's program of command agriculture, and that has helped your people, our people, every person. And that's
what I know, not a single successful.
That's the great
communal farmer was in this communal so-called command agriculture nonsense. Allow me to call it nonsense. That is exactly what it is.
Whatever you call it, but it is
communist, fascist.
This year we are not going to import food. We'll actually be exporting. That's how good
exporting
it is. Whoever wants our maize, we give them.
My friend, I'll tell you, Zambia has got more than 3 million tons of maize as we speak.
No.
Zimbabwe is going to be nowhere near 3 million.
You mean now?
Fact.
You mean now? We are talking
fact.
After the full harvest.
Fact. I had the figures.
No. You don't have the figures.
Do you have the figures?
That's wrong. Listen. You don't have the figures. The point is
I've told you Zambian figures.
The point is you have confirmed it yourself that in your area there's a lot of food. And I'm saying this is the result of our command agriculture.
No.
This is what
my people were never given this
and it has been successful.
Command agriculture nonsense.
It has been successful. So
through their own hard efforts.
You can see the success of ZANU-PF. The second thing here is ZANU-PF does not do things for you. ZANU-PF encourages you to do your own hard work. It is not what ZANU-PF must do to you. No. Let me finish. Chimbo bila kutuka. Chimbo tanga materera mkoma.
These are facts.
Mukoma.
Inomanikidza vanhu.
Izotaura zvinhu zvikazvo ndo slogan yenyu iyi.
Chinonzi command agriculture.
Ndo slogan yenyu.
Yemashefu.
Macho
politicians vachiba ma-inputs. Nemasoja, mashefu vemasoja.
Point yangu ndeso. Amuna kana vanhu vamakaona akaba. We have now, right. Listen,
I can name them if you want.
We have had I don't
worry about
that because magara munongo
leadership ikachika manje MDC ikachika kuti ZANU inochikisa ko vari kuzasi
kumasewa mazita avo
aiwa ndobvira muri kutanzi ndinorohwa imi kana muri leadership.
Just joking. Inini handisika vanhu vezana ndozviziva.
I'm
one of the people who have criticized Mugabe and I'll continue to criticize him because handitye munhu akasikwa naMwari. Tiripo pakutaura chokwadi. The MDC is the party of the truth. We are God fearing. Atitye munhu because you know that Mwari up there, the big man upstairs, Mwari idara anoti protect. Atitye zanis.
Right. This is my point here. What I'm saying is the problem with MDC is just spreading the fear factor and the hatred they have for ZANU-PF. But there is nothing at all in store for the people. That's the reason why I'm saying there is no winning for MDC in 2018 because there is nothing people would vote MDC for. Number two, you have said you have got a shadow cabinet sitting somewhere. Yes, that's fine. It will sit there forever. It will remain in those shadows of fear, shadows of confusion, and shadows of talking about the past. You have no future plans for this country. ZANU-PF has future plans. And we have engaged the youth. And now we are having every every province a youth program where our president is going to meet the youth, talk to the youth, and hear their problems
and give
discuss.
them and service the mastens.
No,
President says
that would stop. President says that was a mistake, and that
Mavaza, my brother.
President said
you
that
look
would
fairly
stop.
educated.
That has stopped. Whoever was doing it,
our time is running out. The program is Late Night Politics, and tonight we are discussing, is a divided ZANU-PF a shoe-in to win the 2018 elections, defeating all other parties, including the MDC-T led by Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai? Are the perceived wrangles in the ruling party enough to tilt the goals in favor of the opposition? And so far, it seems like it's a logjam. No one is really coming out clearly. There's been throwing of mud on both sides. As we wind up, is ZANU-PF a rural party with no coherent policies for the urban dweller? And is MDC-T still to make inroads into the rural vote? Can you think beyond the urban vote?
George, let me answer that. The MDC is a national party. We are not only confined to the urban areas. I think I told you during the beginning of this debate that we actually have a door-to-door policy where the bulk of our structures, the leadership, is actually out there, not in the towns or the small, mining towns or the big cities like Harare or Bulawayo. They are actually there in the villages, talking to people on door-to-door campaigns, selling the MDC message of hope, articulating our party policies on health, on education, on agriculture. In fact, we are the party that was first to come out very clear kuti vanhu ngavapiwe minda. Kana vapiwa minda hatigumire ipapo. Toda kuti kana vapiwa minda ngavapiwe security of tenure. We don't want to use minda as a tool of patronage. Toda kuti kana munhu ane munda auziva kuti munda ndewake, kwete kuti mangwana unozonzi wandipandukira ndakukutorera. Ndosaka takataura nyaya yema-title deeds kuti kana wapiwa munda wako iva ne-title kuti uzive kuti ndewako. Ndisu takatanga kutaura izvozvo, nanhasi tiri kutaura izvozvo. MDC, we are out there in the villages. So this notion yekuti MDC is an urban party, is a rural party, it's a sterile, puerile, misguided ZANU-PF propaganda. It doesn't cut. We are all over the country, from Zambezi to Limpopo, from Malipati to Tamandai. Ndosaka chiti the MDC is the real deal.
Right, this is the position again. Yes, ZANU-PF is going to win 2018. MDC is doing door-to-door, spreading the message of fear, not of hope. And again, ZANU-PF had shown that it is strong, even if when it looks divided, it is stronger in its division. And in that strength of ZANU-PF, we are going to win. And again, ZANU-PF does not rig. It works. It's now working. We are seeing the youth coming together.
When a diplomat comes to speak on behalf of ZANU,
when the youth comes to that,
the gods must be crazy.
When the youth comes and meet publicly and meet their president, instead of you copying the good thing our youth are doing, you can't turn back and say they've been bust.
We are not blasphemers.
What our youth have said, he never said Mukabendimari. He said he's an angel. If you read the Bible well, the angels are beneath humanity.
That's a side issue. Let's not get sidetracked. Dr. Mavaza.
Finally, the other point is that what we have to say is that ZANU-PF has experience in winning, not rigging. And because of that, because of our experience, we have actually developed these winning skills, which we are
winning skills.
Winning skills. And we're going to win. The other thing, look at the MDC-T itself. It's trying to gather everybody around them to form a force. Unfortunately, it's the mixture of iron and mud they can never meet. We have their partners in the Grand Coalition are already dividing themselves and dividing the party. Let me tell you one thing, a word of advice. These people you are uniting together with in order to fight the strongest and united party in the country, ZANU-PF. Let me finish this. One, the advice we are giving you is that don't waste people's time on useless coalitions and useless campaigns. If you have got plans which you think can make this country better, issue them out for national interest, not to keep them in your bag until you are in power. You are saying let people die when they are dying. Listen, you are saying let people die. We have got a way of getting you out of trouble, but we can only tell you when you have died and
we have proved
that's called
our prowess during the inclusive government.
You are a lawyer. During the inclusive government,
all the social service ministries were
Dr. Mavaza,
under our control.
Dr. Mavaza, well. as we are going near the end, the urban vote for ZANU-PF, there might be a bit of a sticking point there, because they all ask about the 2.2 million jobs, the urban votes. Do you have a coherent policy? Do you have the coherent policy for the urban dwellers?
Yes. I need you to notice one thing here. We have lost considerable votes in the urban areas for some time. But recently, we've gained a lot of seats from the towns, which we've taken from the MDC, because they've realized that, look, MDC, besides insulting ZANU-PF, they have nothing to offer. Number one. Number two, the 2.2 million jobs which were promised were not promised in one day. Were promised in a period of 5 years. We haven't finished 5 years yet. And again, we are not saying we've been succeeding in providing these jobs. We have had challenges.
They've created 2.2 million loafers and vendors.
These challenges,
congratulations.
99% of them are caused by the MDC, who kept on hanging on to sanctions and going on to say,
oh my God,
they have
again.
Let me finish this.
Don't believe that
you are a patriot.
Lie. Yes.
And we presume you are a patriot. You have got
I am a patriot.
You have got the heart of the country, the country at heart.
Yes.
But you have got a reason, you have got something to make the country better, but you're hiding it until they vote for you. That's called extortion. That is sheer wickedness. Witchcraft is when MDC pretends to be able to remove problems and hide the source.
George,
but what we know is that you don't have the source. You don't have no way of
One thing, one thing, Mr. Gutu, that ZANU-PF was doing in Marondera on Friday was to encourage the youth to go and register to vote.
We are doing exactly that. We actually have my programs as I'm talking now. Where the youth vote is being targeted. Kuti kana vakazvarwa iye manje vana vakazvarwa even vakazvarwa 1999 next year vanenge vasvika 18 years anditi ndo vatototi musakangana kuvhota ungatokangana zita rako asi usakangana kuvhota. We are out there. Tine mhou nemhuri yayo program iri kuranwa Women's Assembly. We are reaching out there to the young girls, young women. Register to vote. I've just given the concrete examples of my programs, Edu George. I hope Mavaza you are listening. Mhou nemhuri yayo titeedzere nokuti we are the only game in town. Ndisu anhu acho.
You are the only game playing, the only player in town.
Final words, gentlemen, as we close, because our time has run out. Mr. Gutu, your final words as far as looking at 2018.
My final word is that we want, as MDC, the people of Zimbabwe, to be given an opportunity to vote in a peaceful environment, also in an environment in which the elections are going to be free and fair, an environment which will be good enough to enable all voters throughout the country to cast their ballots without fear, without favor. We don't want any intimidation. We don't want any traditional leaders out there in the rural areas to be forced or commandeered to become political commissars of ZANU-PF or of any political party for that matter. We don't want members of the security forces, the army, the CIO, the police, the Zimbabwe prisons and correctional services, etc., to become ZANU-PF political commissars. We want people to be given an opportunity to vote. And thank you, Zimbabwe, for listening. Please, can you go and vote ZANU-PF out? ZANU-PF ndio yakonzera kutambura kwenyu, kushayikwa kwemari, kuvata kwenyu pamabhengi muchipuwa mari ma $20 emacoin. ZANU-PF ndio yakonzera kuti vana venyu vaende kuSouth Africa, Namibia, vachinotsvaga basa, vachitambura, vachidya nhoko dzezvironda.
Dr. Mavaza,
tokumbirawo kuti muti bye bye kuZANU.
With listeners, this is what we would say to you. Musanyengedzwe nezviwitsi sezindumurwa. MDC has failed to come up with any program to challenge ZANU-PF except insulting it. We are saying to you, yes, we've had problems, but the problems are on the mend. Again, yes, we've had our own factious fightings. ZANU-PF is coming back again as united. ZANU-PF is the only party which could fight itself and unite itself. MDC had split into how many times? If you vote for MDC, you are voting for the splitting of the country. Again, you look at the MDC, they are the ones who float at will their own constitution. What can they do to yours? What can they do to the countries? Do not vote MDC because you are not voting for anything. And again, 2018 coming, say to Tsvangirai, please stay there, out there as opposition and not as the leader, because our country does not need people like MDC with the minds of saying we know how to make the country better, but we won't make it until you vote for us. What they are saying to you, they are threatening you. They are saying you will die of hunger if you don't vote for them. If they love you, they must make you full now, not to wait until tomorrow. They've got constituencies with their own MPs. People are suffering there. If they've got plans to make people better, why are they not better in their constituencies?
MPs are not the government.
When you look at
they
that,
are part of the legislature, not the executive.
Councils, most of them are being run by MDC. The problems we have in towns are caused by MDC council, their mayors, not ZANU-PF. So do not look at our problems in the towns and blame ZANU-PF. Blame Tsvangirai and his people. They are the ones causing this problem. Since MDC took over towns, our beans are not being taken on time, taken at all. Sewages are bursting. These are the results of inefficiency, corruption, and idiocy of the MDC. And you look at it, they want to blame it on ZANU-PF. The problem is they create a problem and then blame it on ZANU-PF. But now I know, you listeners, you are wiser than that. You know who is holding the stick in town.
Thank you very much. The program has been Late Night Politics, and we were discussing is a divided ZANU-PF shoe-in to win the 2018 elections, defeating all other parties, and are the perceived wrangles in the ruling party enough to tilt the goals in favor of the opposition? To help in our discussion, I had in the studio MDC-T National Spokesperson, Mr. Obert Gutu, and ZANU-PF activist, Dr Masimba Mavaza. Gentlemen, thank you for coming to Late Night Politics.
Thank you.
Thank you, George, for having us.
Good night. My name is George Msumba. Catch me again next Monday for another Late Night Politics.
You've been listening to Late Night Politics on StarFM, taking an in-depth look at the Zimbabwean political scene. Join us again next week, Monday, same time on StarFM.